Most events are forgettable, not because the people running them don't care, but because they're optimizing for logistics instead of memory. I'm Jay Minash, Senior Director of Strategy and Growth at Exhibitus, and this is Event Experience Experts. Every episode, I sit down with the creatives, strategists, and senior leaders who are raising the bar on what live brand experiences can actually do. If you're done accepting forgettable, you're in the right place. My guest today has spent his career convinced that events don't fail because of the venue. They fail because sales and marketing show up wanting two different nights. He's run more than 1,500 events across 73 countries, leads global growth for Buyer Foresight, and literally wrote the book on it. Fred Flintstone, Selling in a George Jetson World. And he never gets tired of sharing terrible jokes on LinkedIn that I read almost every day. Today, we're talking about the format everyone says they believe in and almost nobody executes well, the VIP dinner. Joe Fontana, welcome to Event Experience Experts.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. You know, I've been a big fan of yours since day one. I think you've been to one of my events because I use them to prospect as well.
That was our day one.
Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, it was.
I want to say it was Ruth Chris in New York City where I got the full Joe experience.
Morton's.
I always mix those two up.
But here's the thing that you just said. Nobody cares about the venue. When the experience is right, you and I became friendly from there. We've become friends since. You sat there and saw a dozen plus marketers just have conversations that mattered, things they were terrified to talk about to their peer, to their colleagues, that they can talk to their peers, and no one ever. I love that you said that. That means the event worked. It's not about I have people all the time like, where was that event again? Where were you? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's about the connection. It's about the feeling. And I've talked about it with several different people that have been on the podcast, and it's like, tell me how you know an event works in the moment. And like, it's the energy in the room. It's like, yes, of course you need to see the business results, no doubt about that. But it's like, if it's working right now because you can feel it.
Yeah. So, I know events working as they come in and introduce themselves, as they sit down. Well, I got to tell people, could you be quiet so I could do introductions? Is my most favorite thing to say. When I got to take the spoon and the glass and do the tappity tap like it's a wedding. And I got to do it 4 or 5 times before people even realize I'm tapping. And I'm like, somebody's making money tonight.
That's right.
Somebody's making money. Because that's how deals get formed today.
Yeah, well, and that's a good segue. Obviously we're all about events and live experiences. And Joe, you come sometimes with the opposing point of view. We were just talking about one you have about AI SDRs, which we won't get into to keep the profanity out of this. But what's a belief you hold about live experiences that most people in this industry would push back on?
That you can build pipeline from them. That you can actually walk out of there, not necessarily deals in hand, but cement setting on a relationship. Because that's how I look at them as. You're not here to sell. You're not here to close deals. You are here to set a foundation. You set it right. You've got an asset or a partner, a door opener, an advocate, a champion, a center of influence, a client, or somebody that just believes in what you're doing and is willing to share the word with others in their network. You said it wrong, and you've just shot yourself in the foot. And we all see it. Guys that try to sell, guys go into the bathroom, hey, take a look at my case study. Hey, I saw that problem. You want to take a look at want to take a look at one of my slides, or you want to take a look at my user interface, to say nothing of the next day when the wine is worn off, the Listerine is worn off, and the commission breath is coming through. And you see it all the time. If you set these foundations the right way, these people need to feel like they have been heard. They need to feel like you're listening. They need to walk away from there. Yeah, I'd love to work with these guys. And never once has a feature or benefit been mentioned. Never once are you talking about where you sit in Gartner's Magic Quadrant. You're not bringing up the Business Insider Award that your CEO paid $50K for. It's about them, their pain. It's the only way to close deals nowadays. I rant on this often. People no longer buy from people they like. When I started in this industry, that was as true as the day is 24 hours long. But that's because the seller owned the data. In the 90s, you came to the seller for that. You had no choice. There was no place else to get it. Now, there's buying committees, there's communities, there's networks, there's all different ways you can do your research to now, I need to do business with somebody I can trust. Somebody that I'm assured is not going to be the reason I'm on the outside looking in, sending a note to Dan Goodman on LinkedIn about how I just got kicked to the curb. Big shout out to Dan Goodman. Does amazing things for sellers. But it's a tale as old as time. If you're not putting in the work, you're not going to get a result. This is not something you could just manufacture. Time needs to be put into it. Energy needs to be put into it. You need to. Did a post on it the other day. You need to tape your lips shut. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You're in a room. The beauty of these VIP events and why they can drive pipeline is because a seller is going to get exposed to things that a buyer would normally not share, especially when they're 2 martinis in. Third old fashioned, talking about a pain point that 10 other guys are agreeing with and talking through. And that seller just needs to shut up.
Yeah. Would you say, do you ever get pushback? It's like, oh, in my industry, this isn't how we do business. Do you ever hear that pushback?
Yeah, great. This is how your buyer does it. You do it however you want. This is how your buyer wants to be approached now. They don't want to be approached with a case study. They don't need to be part of a 10-step cadence and a phone call from a seller on a dialer and a 10-second delay. Like we were talking about shooting for poops and giggles earlier. Man,
good job.
I'm trying. Your editor is amazing. She got me on the clear and narrow path already. But you have to go where your buyer is. This is how your buyer wants to be engaged now. Buyer's already done the homework, so what's the point of your community? Buyer's already checked the logo, so what's the point in your case study? There's a time and a place for them. Do you want it in the hands of a receptive buyer? Or do you just want to keep going through with those cadences that we all know were created by either Chat, Claude, or Gemini? As a buyer myself, or as somebody 50 million idiots on LinkedIn think is a buyer, it has gotten so bad that I can tell a Chat note from a Claude note from a Gemini note. And I'm as dumb as a stump. I couldn't spell it together if you handed me the I and tattooed the T on my forehead. So if I can catch it, what about that AI engineer? That systems processor that now needs to incorporate an AI engine. They're going to see it. They're going to see right through it. So your buyers want to have conversations. They want to be heard and they want to hear without a target on their back. That's why there's no pitches at my events. There's no decks. There's no, hey, Joe, where's the screen? How do we connect our computer to the screen? 2 weeks ago, I had a client that showed up with case studies. And that's why my private rooms always have a fireplace. Where should we put these? Great. We haven't started a fire. I know the perfect spot for these. They're not here for your case study. They're not here for your brand. They are here to be heard. They're here to determine, is this idiot talking at the other side of the table, like I said before, going to be the reason that I'm on the outside looking in? It's your chance to show that you're credible. And the companies that say this isn't our thing and this isn't the way we do business are destined to fail.
Yeah, and you said something earlier about, the trustworthy factor of it, and I think that speaks to, I don't even think you get in the room anymore unless they already like and trust you, let alone, when you're at a dinner, it's like, yeah, you have to hammer that home and reinforce it, but you have no chance. And you talk about it, it's like these communities, there's information everywhere. We're no longer where sellers have the upper hand. It's like you need to be in that face-to-face setting. It's why everybody says it. I love it. Events are having their moment. Thank you, AI. It is another reason I love you, that you can't
AI
fake
has
it.
leveled the playing field.
Yeah.
Everybody's now operating from the same bar of stupid. Because now it's the exception that... So to me, successful AI implementation is appreciating the difference between foreground and background work. Mm-hmm. I employ AI. I research my prospects thoroughly. You've been to one of my events where I bring marketers together. I have done extensive research on every one of them, on every organization they represent, because I only want to do business with people that I can impress immediately without, hey, yeah, I tell dumb jokes on LinkedIn, but you got 20 people in the room. Joke's on you. So I do that research there to make sure that I'm a fit, so that it's not a matter of proposal time. Hey, here's our audience. Oh my God, I can't fill this room. So I'm doing the research to make sure in the background, I'm doing this research to ensure that my foreground work Looks like I came correct. I've done the research, so as a human being, I know how to craft a note. I've done the research, so my call doesn't start, this is Joe, and this is a cold call. The few times I get on the phone, this is Joe, and this is a thoroughly prepared, slightly warm call.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in your inbox right now is the work that I've done in your industry against your top competitors. Miscarriage of justice. It's in spam when it should be front and center in your inbox. If you agree, take a look, call me back, click.
I like it. I think the research portion is really important, and thank you for the free segue to the next question, because I think you have to do this kind of you have to do this kind of research for this to work. But have you read the book Unreasonable Hospitality?
Yes, great book.
One of my favorites. It's a lot of I take that approach and I try to apply it to not only the selling relationship but events and how we're creating these experiences. So, what does unreasonable hospitality look like at an activation for you? And as a second part, why aren't more brands employing it?
I'll start with the second one first. Brands don't employ it because it requires getting into the shoes of your prospect, of being able to understand that pain. All of my events are driven by one thing: pain. Researched pain. I know this makes you sweat the bed. I've seen your posts where you've spoken about this. So I just want an opportunity for you and 10 guys to chew the fat and tell my client, are you on the mark? Have you overshot? Are you talking out of your ass because your mouth doesn't know better? And this is not a curse word. I don't care what your editor says. But are you coming correct? Unreasonable hospitality is making that person feel like the most important person in the room. And when it comes to having these uncomfortable conversations, you need to come correct. That's where AI shines. It's given me this body of research in which I can now, as we say in Brooklyn, put the screws to you. I know this hurts. I know that hurts. This is going to make you sting. This is going to make you look at the note. But it's all about them. Clients come to me because they've lost sight of that. It's come to my event. This is what we've done in your space. This feature solves this. This benefit does that. Look at this new tool. Check our new dashboard. Sell, 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 sell. Instead of, and anybody's welcome to do this, go to the brand that I use for my prospects, Common Sense Events. And you're going to find hundreds of events by sector, and not once do I mention a feature or benefit or where they sit in Gartner's Magic Quadrant, or like I said, the award they paid to look important on LinkedIn through their promoted posts. Everything is about, I know this makes you wake up at 4 a.m. in a cold sweat, and you're not alone. There's a group of guys just like you talking through this very thing. Do you want chicken or steak? And when they get there, there's no deck. There's no slide. We're owning through. A lot of times, hey, we'd love to have you attend this event. Billy, 2 floors up from you, attended one on this topic 3 weeks ago. Ask him if anybody jammed a case study down his throat.
I couldn't even imagine one of these dinners with let me do this presentation. It's like
it happens. I had to fire a client for just that this week. Middle of dinner, somebody comes. He's looking at me like, I know you said no case studies, so I hope you're not upset. I was like, buddy, you already paid me. It's not my pipeline that you're going to burn to the ground. It's yours. You're going to tell me if you're sitting at a dinner, you're going to be okay after the second course is served for somebody to say, put down your fork, 5-year-old. Listen, let me pull this screen down, and I'm going to talk through bullet points you can easily read for yourself.
I can feel it. I can see it. Yeah, no, there's that one where it's like,
start to bug from my head. I'm like, oh, please let there be a lightning strike. How come those floods I see all the time in New York City are not happening right now? I would love nothing more than to Titanic, see the waves come down the steps and all the power short out and be like, hey, while we're trying to fight our last breaths, could somebody talk through why we're having this dinner?
It's because I wanted to see the case studies, obviously, Joe.
Yeah, because I wanted to see the case studies. And then you see the energy lead. You see all of that work, all of those personal notes. Guys like me, I get on the phone with attendees. Hey, I hear you're giving us some pushback. This is why this guy at this company said, I want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. He wants to earn the right to pitch you. Notice nobody's coming with a sequence or a cadence or a case study or a survey as how much money you've got to spend. Nobody's going to pitch me? You have my word, nobody's going to pitch me. Nobody's going to share a deck with me. If they do, I'm going to take it out of their hands and we're going to light it with one of the candles on the table, which I've done. You know me. You know I'll do it.
Oh, I was nervous to even have you on this podcast because of what you might say or do. So, don't light your house on fire while we're talking.
Listen, you're not the first, but it's because I have a passion for closing deals.
For sure.
I've been a pipeline whisperer for 30 years, and this is one of the best ways to unstick deals, to start the conversations that actually move the needle. Because it's not just the event, it's what you do post-event.
So let me pull it back to the first half of that question, though. What is?
I don't think I even answered it. What was it again?
No, I wanted to know what does unreasonable hospitality mean to you? What does it look like at an activation, or obviously one of the dinner shows?
It means making every person feel heard. Of their problem is now your problem. What is it that you're looking to learn? Of making sure that my client has read the profiles I gave them 2 days before the event. This is why Jimmy's here. This is why Jay is here. Do you have a question ready? Well, so you didn't read them. Here's 5 questions. How much else do I have to do to close your deals for you? Yeah. But it's making every attendee at that event, regardless if it's 10 or 10,000, feeling like they're the only person there. You're right, Joe. Nobody did pitch me. I thought that seller had laryngitis. He didn't say a word. That you were right. They really did take the time to answer this question. They really, like I walked up to the bar. Nobody hit me a case study. He asked, hey, is this true? Is that true? Making everybody feel like they are the only person in the room is what separates good events from bad. And it could be 5,000 people at Money 2020, or it could be 10 people in the basement in Morton's and FIDI having a conversation over anything from sales and marketing alignment to the latest in cybersec, health tech, insurtech. I've heard so many of these dinners, it just all blurs my brain now.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, no, I think that you really said that well with, making everybody feel seen. And that's what people want, no matter if it's 10,000 people or 50,000 people or 20 people at an event. I think that makes a big difference in how you feel when you walk out. And like we said earlier, that feeling means so much. So, a lot of money gets wasted in the event world. Where would you say you see events budgets being wasted most consistently?
Trade shows were with unrealistic expectations. Conferences with unrealistic expectations. These are not consideration tools. These are awareness plays. And and I'm sure you see it as you build out events for organizations, and those guys come in heavy-handed thinking every person that comes through that booth is somebody they can pitch. And then word gets around. And second day, it's like abandoned town in Old West. You're watching tumbleweeds go through their booth. I also see money wasted when people want to move outside of format. So my dinners work because there are no pitches, because there are no decks. Like the example I used a short while ago, where somebody is pulling down a screen. You have just dropped your drawers or have taken the proverbial wallet and just opened it to the 4 winds. Like anything that you have worked, all that time, that energy, that money that has gone into the investment of me building something out over 6, 8, 12 weeks has disappeared instantly. And nothing you say or do will get it back. The CEO of that company can call these prospects and they'll be like, thanks, but no thanks. Take care, brush your hair. See you later. You had me at this, you lost me at that. It's when organizations want an event, a conference, that's an awareness play to be a consideration play. Or when one of my dinners now is, hey, we need to speed up our pipeline. We're going to go right in for the kill. And the money just disappears because there's no results to justify it. There's no ROI.
I will push back. I don't think trade shows or conferences are only awareness plays. I think you need to be aware of where your audience is in that moment. Because there are so
Yes.
many different personas at these events. Yes, a good percentage of it is 100% awareness. Hopefully, you're getting ahead of that and doing some kind of pre-event campaign, which I know we were touching on a little bit earlier. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's setting those expectations. You're not talking to 100% of any audience at any conference. You're probably talking to maybe 20% of that, and within that 20%, I'd say what 5% are in market looking for exactly what you're selling. So, but I do think you're right. I think setting expectations and making that business case in the
And
room.
that's probably the best way to put it is
Yeah.
the false expectation. That's where the money fails.
Yeah.
When you don't have that plan, that strategy, this is what we do when this persona comes by. This is how we manage this one. If this type of person walks in, you want to ping that systems engineer who's currently fiddling with their pencil protector or their pocket protector. This is how you deal with this. This is how you move that. And you post about it daily. Anybody has any questions about what right looks like? Follow Jay. Give it 15 minutes to his content. That's not a joke. That's not me blowing smoke up anybody's ass. This is an industry riddled with stupidity and ineptitude.
Yeah. Well, and
See it
people
all
just
day.
thinking you can show up, and it's like, no, it's all going to work out. And the
You
reality
could
is
show
you
up
need a
and
plan.
spams work. And so if you look at my profile, you'll see that I'm with Buyer Foresight Amzai. And prior to that, you'll see that I was with another competitor in the space. And that competitor's CEO, who I helped train and prep for his position, pinged me last week and invited me to one of his events, a CISO event in the CX space. And if you know me, I can barely spell any of those words. But there I am, getting all sorts of messaging about closing deals, this, that, and this. But no one wants to take the time to do the work.
Yeah. I think that, and you can say that across fields, I will say, especially in the sales world where it's like, you got to put in the work. You can't just think it's going to be laid out for you. Yes, you can make a million phone calls, but it's that research piece that you talked about earlier that it's like, that is the work. Knowing what you're
In
talking
the
about, who
event
you're talking
space, you don't know what you're doing, it will get exposed real fast.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many event organizers there are out there that are currently white labeling my services. And it's getting to the point where, hey, I don't need to do this for you anymore. I'm just going to take them myself.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Doing that on the regular. Hey, I heard you're happy with Susie's work. Here's the contract I just signed with Susie to do that work for you. So do you want to pay a middleman? Do you want to pay an extra 15, 20%? Or do you want to just come to me where I already know what you do? I already know the people you want to work with. And we don't have to play this George McFly game anymore.
Nice reference.
Let's see how many people in your audience get that reference.
Oh, I moved over to show you my DeLorean Lego set, but it's too low for the camera. Yeah, no, you're right. We are seeing in our space, we are primarily trade shows. That's what we've been doing since '94. We're doing more events and experiences. With almost every conference that we do, there's an off-floor event. There's a 150 person event that they're doing. There's a dinner they're doing, and it's such an integral part of the sales process, the marketing process these days, that you do like using that expert to do it right, to really think about like how you're going to go about it, where you're going to go. Everybody's worried about the venue, and the reality is it's like the venue matters only because it should be in proximity to something you need it to be near, and it can't be.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I got my first one. Sorry, Laura. But yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. So when you're planning these events, we talk a little bit about unreasonable hospitality, but there's a creative tension, and you have to think about where does that live in the process when you're thinking about the creative tension, and is that between the vision and the budget? Is that between the brand and the audience they're bringing in? Like, where does it typically break down for you?
It typically breaks down in who they want and what those individuals want to hear. So I understand everybody wants a decision maker in the room, but a lot of organizations fail to appreciate or even recognize that your decision maker is somebody that is listening to a larger group, taking their opinions, taking the pros and cons, and making a decision. So they are not ingrained in the granular information that the advocate, the champion, that any of these people in a buying committee actually learned and apply. Mm-hmm. So I always push back when I want the C-level executive. Great, that person's going to attend a dinner and then say, talk to Susan.
Yeah.
Why don't we just get Susie in the room? Well, Susie doesn't make a decision. Susie's the straw that stirs the drink. Susie's the one that brings in this asset. Susie's the one that brings in this individual. Susie's the one that gets those 5 people on the buying committee who couldn't pick you out of a lineup to suddenly find you on their radar, and vice versa. This CISO you want in the room is going to take what Susie and 6 other people said, listen to them over the course sometimes of 30 minutes. That's if he's not cool with just getting a 5-paragraph email debrief, and make a decision. So why have him there? The other disconnect is on the creative side. This is what we think our buyer wants to hear. A lot of times they're right. Very often they're wrong, because they always make it about them. This is what we're doing. This is the problems we've solved. This is what we're doing with your competitor. And your buyer sees that in emails every day. Yeah. Take a look at any one of your juicy LinkedIn posts to get that information. So a lot of times it's education of this is what they want to hear and this is why. But what I know, I'm only working with 5 of your biggest competitors, filling up 20 people in a room every month. Feel free to do it your way.
I think what you said about the C-level really resonates, because it's almost like you're sitting in on my meetings, because every time, that's always a key question. It's like, who are you targeting? What audience are we trying to talk to? And I can count on one hand how many people have said not the C-level. And the influencer bucket, listen, we do it too. We want to talk to the C-level marketer. We want to talk to that VP. But the reality is they may sign the check. They may make that final decision, but they're only going to see you in that final subset once Susie, as you referenced, is bringing you into the room in the first place. So, it's a combination. Obviously, you want to talk to all levels at some point. You're never just going to be talking to this influencer level of the equation and get that check signed or deal signed, however you want to put it. But the reality is, whether you're at a dinner or you're walking a conference, the CMO of your biggest target or the CISO of your biggest, target is most likely not walking into your booth unless you already know them. They're certainly not coming to a dinner when it's like, hey, I'm here for 3 days. I'm talking to 800 people. My schedule is packed from meeting to meeting to meeting. And that unrealistic expectation of audience, I think, is a really big disconnect. I think you're right there.
My 3 largest clients, each of those deals was signed by a CMO. And one of them was surprised yesterday to find that I'm the guy that's building his events.
Wow.
Wait, you're the guy? Yeah, I'm Amzai. I'm buyer 4. You're Amzai? Yeah. You don't know much about events. I don't need to. I got 6 data guys and engineers and smart citizens that know how to find exactly what you need. I had a CMO ask me today, you know what we sell. How would you present it? I don't know what you sell. You put a gun to my head and ask me what your product is. There's nothing but brains over the table. So what I do know is you need to talk to these people. And these people will listen to you because of this.
Yeah.
Notice how I don't need to know what your company does in order to do that. I need to know the conversations that move the needle for your buyer. For your sellers, which is why I'm bringing them in and the marketers in. That's why every month I host a chocolate tasting. I want sellers and marketers in the room because they need to be in lockstep. These are the right people. These are the things that they want to hear. These are the things we want to talk about because we know it strikes a chord. We know our prospects break out into a cold sweat. When we bring up the question at dinner, everybody's going to start shuffling in their seats and looking side to side and hope that nobody realizes that's the question they asked.
I like that.
I'm dying.
Yeah.
That's why they work. They're
real conversations.
Events are very simple, but there is a big difference between simple and easy. People think they're easy, especially when they work with somebody like me. You mentioned 1,500 events. I averaged that a year for the last 12 years. I have seen every slice of the pie you can see. But people go out and do it wrong every day. That's why these companies come to me. Hey, we're trying to do events and we're failing. Can I take a look at your copy? Yeah, that's right there is why you failed. Your sellers want all the CEOs in the room? Great. Go find me how you're going to get Jeff Bezos into a room. Unless it's the room on his super yacht and you're bringing in a tray of gold, you're not getting Jeff in a room.
I don't think he needs a tray of gold. I don't think you know Jeff very well.
Right? Whatever it is, there's nothing to motivate the guy. But, you think about it. And I see these posts and I see these comments all the time. Your CIO, your CISO, your CFO, your CMO are moaning every day about the 200 invites that are waiting for them.
Yeah.
And 90% of them say, when it does fit and you have struck a chord, Johnny, you got to go. Susie, you're going in my place. Hey, can I send this guy in my place? I'd love to go, but I really don't want to go.
I actually have no interest whatsoever.
Like, this will be interesting to me when somebody tells me this is a problem and it needs to be fixed. So if you can convince them, they can convince me.
I love it. So I'm going to wrap it up with this one question.
We're done. We've only been at this for 30 minutes.
I know. I book an hour just, because there's a lot of banter.
You were afraid I was going to say something cancel-worthy, and you're like, I got to get this started and done quickly.
No, I always build
his 20 seconds of fame.
Listen, Joe, I think we both can talk, so I'm always worried. And I do this with every guest. I've only had one where I literally was like, oh my God, I have a meeting in the next minute. I really actually have to end this now. But, we've talked a lot about how events are done wrong. And so let me ask you this. If you could redesign one thing about how a brand approaches live events from scratch, what would it be?
It's about my prospect. I want to hear what my prospect has to say.
Elaborate.
Every event is some thinly veiled approach to be about the seller. The truly exceptional ones, the ones that drive pipeline, the ones that come to me 3 weeks after an event and say, you got me 12, I had 8 meetings, I've got 3 opportunities, strong stage 2, and I've got 5 awesome sales qualified leads that unfortunately these variables are keeping from turning into an opportunity. And that's because it was all about the prospect. Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Is this true? Assuming nothing. They truly put themselves into the shoes of their prospects. They came as a servant. And before you can serve, you have to know what it is you're serving and how best to serve it and the manner in which to serve it. So the clients that are coming to me, like my team would be like, are we going to ask these guys when they're ready for a renewal? Give it a minute. They had 25 people. We just got 10 deals in pipeline. If they're not coming to us, it's because that building got eaten by Godzilla.
They're so busy with so many deals, they couldn't even think about it.
And listen, I've had that. Like, hey, we put events on hold. We have more deals than we know what to do with right now. I can't give another 15 deals to 5 guys. We need to talk in Q2. And that's because these organizations take these conversations seriously. Just as important at the conversation at the dinner is the follow-up, is just as authentic. Not, okay, dinner's served, everybody's going home. Watch how I pitch slap this son of a bitch. Hey, Jay, thanks for taking the call. Hold on. Let me get my latest demo up. Hold on. I want to show you this case study. Hey, you said this on the call. I think you're full of shit. Prove it. I'm like, oh, these are all the things I was looking to avoid.
Yeah.
Instead of, with my best practices, the right person is on that call with them. The person they were expecting was on that call with them. And that guy, he's not a seller anyway. So they don't even have a defense up or a concern that I'm going to get picked, even when that person brings in a seller. Because all that seller is doing is taking the questions that the SME would have asked or that person would have asked, and they're taking that conversation over. And that's how, when you work with me, and those calls come to an end, 5-6 days after the event, not 30, not 60, not 90, you follow my best practices, they are talking to you within 7 business days of the event. Within 10 business days of the event after those conversations, you will know what your pipeline looks like, which is why I schedule my debrief at 15 days out from the event.
I love it.
Because then there's none of the great event, great vibes, this was awesome, we're still trying to get deals. Billy's still trying to get guys on the phone. Nobody answered Billy after the call. Well, nobody answered Billy after the call because he shared a case study. Why is he asking this guy to complete a survey? What makes you think this guy wants to see a premium? None of that was discussed. And I was in the room.
Yeah. It's the old school playbook that always somehow comes back to the surface. Like, no, we got to see our capabilities presentation.
Old school playbook. And people think what's old is new. Yeah, events have always been a great way to move the needle. Having a conversation with your prospect over a steak is far more advantageous than an email. But the rules have changed. People tend to forget the buyer still has all the power. It's their world you need to live in. It's their path you need to walk in their shoes. And people lose sight of that instantly. They're like, this guy sat down for dinner. This is a prospect. No, it's not. It's a guy that sat down for dinner that's willing to sit down for another call. You still have not earned the right to pitch him yet.
That is perfectly said. And that's where I'm going to stop you because that is a good closing quote for you. And if I had to walk away with 3 things from this, I'd say 2 ears, 1 mouth. Make sure you're listening. Do your research and make it all about them. And book a dinner with Joe.
Yeah, sign all your contracts with Amzai Buyer Foresight.
Yes.
Because honestly, I can make guarantees nobody in this industry can make. Like a lot of people will guarantee ICP. 90% of them can't. But there's no protection when they don't. I can guarantee the attendees being a match. A lot of times, my clients are the final decision maker. They ask, how do you ensure everybody's an ICP match? You decide. Hey, Jay just registered. Yes, no. If not, why not? And I'm not waiting for you to tell me he's a fit to tell him he's a fit. If you don't tell me, he's not coming. And because of the research that I've done, because of Unreasonable Hospitality, I can also guarantee if I say 8 people are going to be in the room, 8 people are going to be in the room. And if they're not, like any good business partner, I'm there for more than just weddings. No, because listen, you're in the event business.
I just like the way you put
anything could go wrong at any time.
For sure.
What separates a great seller, a great partner today is that they're there for the weddings and the funerals. Everybody can be there when the deal is signed and onboarding. Oh my God, this is amazing. Oh, you're the answer to all my problems. Oh, so many things are going to disappear. All this time and effort and energy I got back. And then goes south. Like last week when I hosted an event across from Trump Tower and Trump decided to visit, which meant that my restaurant was now a Secret Service staging area. Guess how many people they let through the door?
I'm going to go with 0.
0.0, actually. I sat there and I was like, okay, maitre d', I can't eat a dinner for 30 people, but I won't eat 30 people's price tag worth of food. He's like, what do you mean? The dinner's $5,000? Make me a one-man $5,000 meal.
Oh, that must have been so good.
Sea urchin and tomahawk is the way to get there, covered in caviar.
I was going to say, did you rub the sea urchin on the tomahawk?
Bro, it was an effort not to rub it on my chest. The tomahawk didn't even make it off the fork. But things go wrong all the time.
Yeah.
An event will be a miss. The topic will not work sometimes, and we find that at the wrong times. And you need a partner that's not only going to earn it, but make sure you don't lose your job. Because events, that's why you see so many field and event marketers looking for work right now. Because an event failed. And when the event fails, it's usually the seller's fault, but the seller never gets blamed. I can't tell you how many events when I'm like, hey, this is what post-event follow-up looks like. Well, I'm going to send the guy a message a couple days afterwards. I'm going to see if he's open for a call. I also want to make sure he reads my case study. I was like, okay, you're the reason this girl's going to get fired in 3 weeks. So when I talk to your boss later, I'm going to make it clear you're a lazy seller. You didn't want to do the work. Your team didn't want to do the work. But the blame's going to go to this 24-year-old girl who's the smartest person in the room because she found me.
Well, Joe.
If I'm lying, I'm dying. But that's what separates 1,000 people doing this from the likes of you and me. I know that when things go south, a package doesn't arrive, part of a booth isn't there. I know you're dumpster diving.
Mm-hmm. I actually had a boss say that to me very early in my career. He's like, you know how I knew you'd be okay? Because when things were on fire, and they were, I will never forget that event. I didn't look over my shoulder. I just tried to fix it. And I found the people, and that's what it is. You need the partner that's in the room that's going to do the quote unquote dumpster diving with you to fix whatever problem it is. Because if you sit there and panic and be like, oh, woe is me, it's like, well, that's not fixing anything. So yeah. No, I think that's a really good way to end this. And Joe, you said it all, and then you said some more, and then you said some more. But I think this will be a very valuable podcast for everybody to listen to. And Joe, thank you very much for joining me. It was always a pleasure. Always on the edge of my seat talking to you, but always a pleasure.
I know you're always expecting the jokes to come out, but honestly, there's no joking matter here. This is serious stuff. Careers are on the line, revenue's on the line, whether you get funding, whether you find yourself going public, it all comes down to the deals you close. And in today's age, the strongest deals, the longest partnerships, all start with a conversation. And I think that's what a lot of people are losing sight of. Yeah. Sales is still a series of communications and conversations that drive somebody from life as it is today to life as it can be. And if you think an AI-generated algorithmic cadence is going to get you there, my number's 347-578-0339. Call me and prove me wrong. Show me you're the one guy doing it right.
I can't wait for all the AI messages to come into you.
Oh, man, it's going to be good. You really want to give yourself weight as a seller? Come pitch me. Because before I did this, I built sales teams for a living. And the reason that I didn't move on to another organization is I always believed in the strength of relationships. I've got a 35-year career that is as strong as the network that I've built it on. Guys like you, Jay. And here we are. I got to stop talking now. I am not paid by the syllable, I promise.
Joe, I was about to say this is like trying to get off the phone with my wife where I have to say bye.
Or your mom. This is me calling mom. Like, Mom, gotta go. My leg's on fire.
No, my mom will hang up.
My eyeball, Mom.
Or I'll just hang up on my mom because she understands. Now, with my wife, I say goodbye at least 7 times before it's like, no, seriously, I actually have to go. And then, but you got to know the math. As long as you know how many times it takes, you're prepared for it. Now I know.
There you go. So it separates pros from pretenders, my man.
That's right. If you walked away with one thing you'll use, we did our job today. Event Experience Experts drops every week. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and check us out on YouTube if you want to watch. I'm Jay Minash. See you next time.